In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Kali Linux on a virtual environment. We're going to be using Virtualbox as our hypervisor, our type 2 hypervisor. I still haven't graduated to using VMware. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to use VMware on, either on my Windows machine or my Linux machine, but I haven't really gotten around to really settling into VMware. So in this demonstration, we're going to use Virtualbox. We're going to do it in reverse. We're going to download Kali first. I'm going to show you how to check the integrity of the ISO image, and then we're going to download Virtualbox and then install Kali on the Virtualbox environment. Now, first things first, you can see that I'm already pulled up on kali.org. All you have to do, and if you want to follow along, I highly recommend that you follow along unless you want to watch all the way through and then just repeat the steps. But it's better if you follow along, right? So first things first, type in www.kali.org and you're going to get this beautiful cover page, home page here. And then you click download and you're going to see we have two different options that we could choose from. We could choose from bare metal or virtual machines. If you're studying for the CompTIA A+, you should know the difference between bare metal and virtual machines or type 2 hypervisor. The difference between type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor, right? So we go and click virtual machines, and we have two options. We can download the image for either VMware or Virtualbox. If you're feeling adventurous, you can use VMware, which is totally fine. You can download the free version of VMware, which is, I believe, VMware Workstation Player 16. And if you're following along in this video, you can download the Virtualbox version. So we're going to download this image, and once we download this image, we're going to check the integrity of the ISO. I believe there's an OVA somewhere on this website. Let me see something real quick. Oh, we got to venture into Docker at some point, but let's just go back. Go back to virtual machines. This is a interesting website. So anyway, Virtualbox. So you see this right here? We need to refer back to this when we're checking the integrity of the file. And I'm gonna, again, show you how to do that. So for now, we're just gonna download Virtualbox. Shouldn't take that long. On my screen, it says it's gonna take 4 minutes, right? But this is important right here because you want to make sure that you have the correct image so that you're not a victim of a cyber attack, right? There's some people that edit the file for malicious intent, and it can cause all sorts of problems with your machine, ranging from, I guess, man-in-the-middle attacks, worms, so many different things, right? You don't want to install this file without having known that it's from the original creator, right? And so for me, it's 4 minutes. I'm installing it from scratch so that, you can follow along. I believe I have a Kali Linux file on my, oh, this is the OVA. This is gonna be easier than I thought. So this is the OVA. So an OVA is essentially a compressed VM. And once you click into it, it'll automatically install into your Virtualbox or your VMware environment. It just pretty much walks you through the steps. So we can skip a few steps so that we don't have to enter the details one by one, right? So this is going to be easier than I thought. But for now, while you're downloading this, you can also just go straight to Virtualbox and download Virtualbox, right? Big blue button right here. And if you're using Windows, you can click Windows, OS X. I don't believe this works on the M1 chip. I'll have to try that on my M1 Mac, but I don't believe it works for that. Also, again, you might want to check the checksums. I'm going to show you how to do it with the Kali VM so that you don't have to really, worry about that. But you want to download it from the Windows hosts link, and you should be good to go, right? See, it's downloading right here. And you definitely want to check the integrity of this executable file. It's a good habit to do these things because you want to make sure that you're getting the files from the intended creator, as I said before. So this is 3 gigs of storage, so it's taking a little bit. We got 2 more minutes left. Now, Kali is good for people who are, I guess, starting out in the cybersec field, or people who are seasoned in the cybersec field. It has a whole bunch of tools that you can use to learn many things in cybersecurity. It has Wireshark. It has what else it has? It has Nmap, and it has a whole bunch of tools that'll help you hack some stuff. I have to tell you, if you're gonna hack anything, it should be in your lab environment. It should be your lab environment, and it should be only for educational purposes. You shouldn't be doing anything outside the scope of a lab environment, right? You should only be playing around with your virtual machines. You should just be learning how things work and exploring it for lab and educational usages, right? So 40 seconds left. In the meantime, we can just pull up PowerShell real quick. So you see this right here? You want to make sure that you go into your folder where the OVA file is, right? So I believe that for me, it's going to be my downloads folder. So you just type in change directory, downloads, and let's see. Should be almost ready. I think it is ready. I think it's ready now. Let's see. It says a few seconds left. Still pump faking. Okay, I think it's ready now. So let's try something. I think I could just do this, right? Yep, let's try this. So you can just drag and drop the file into the PowerShell command line, I think. Let's see. I've never done it like this before. and then you just type in get file hash. Nope. So let me try something. I think it's get file hash, and then dot, and then let's see if we could just grab this right here. Think I can do that, and then let's try it now. I thought I was slick. I thought I was gonna copy and paste the whole thing in, but it didn't work. Oops. I left out the H. Let's try it now. Should work now. Should work now. And once it pulls up the hash, we're just going to compare it against what Kali.org has on the website. So let's see. Takes a little while if your computer is as slow as mine. And I highly recommend that you don't skip this step at all. Like, this is very important. So this is the hash, right? You got SHA-256. And we're going to go ahead and compare it. I think there's another command that you can use to make sure that it is, so that it automatically compares the hashes, right? So, I mean, you can just pretty much just look through and scan them 4 letters at a time. I've done this so many times that it's pretty straightforward for me. But it takes some practice. And I literally do this every time I check for the integrity of an ISO. All right, so it looks good for me. Make sure you check yours. Make sure yours is straight. I'll just minimize that. And by now you should already have Virtualbox installed, right? Or you can just install it now. I already have mine installed. You can check the integrity of Virtualbox as well if you want. And these are the hashes, right? Extension pack, and you can check the installs, right? Your file should be listed up here, so you just compare it. V4A should be this one right here. Let's double check again. Yep, it's gonna be this one right here. So before you install it, check the hash, right? Let's just do that real quick, because we want to make sure it's the correct file. I don't know if this is something that other people do, but I do it because I want to make sure it's the correct file, right? So as you can see, we have, and an easier way to do it is just to copy and paste the hash into a text file and then compare it from here, right? Which one was it? Is this one? Let's see. Boom. Let's try to see if we can compare it. Let me just, I don't even want to click into it because it's gonna. So you just go and compare it, and it looks good to me. So you're ready to install Virtualbox. So mine is already installed. I'll just double click it anyway. Yes, I use NordVPN. So we go ahead and close that out. Mine is already installed, so I don't really need to do too much, but this is the general, this is going to be the general direction that you're taking. And I don't know what my computer is doing. I think I ran this thing too ragged. Well, it's preparing to install. Just follow the setup instructions and you'll be good, right? So that's done, right? Just skip to the part when you're done with the installation. Just skip to the part where we are installing Kali Linux. Close that out, and where are we? Now we're gonna install Kali Linux. It's pretty straightforward, actually. Just go to the file that you downloaded, which is in your downloads folder. And you can see here, you can name your virtual machine. You can name it anything you want. But we're just gonna call it Kali Linux. Now you can, I'm just gonna use 2 megs, 2 gigs of RAM, not 2 megs, 2 gigs of RAM, because my computer only has 4 gigs total. So let's just go through these one by one. So name, Kali Linux product, Kali Linux product URL. As we went to before, it was www.kali.org. The vendor is Offensive Security. And this goes into what I was saying about making sure that you're checking the integrity of the file. Not that this reflects the integrity of the file, but when we check the integrity of the file for Kali Linux, for example, we want to make sure that it is indeed from Offensive Security. If it's not, then we have an issue, right? And the only way of really knowing is if we have the correct hash, which they publish on their website. At first, when I learned that, it was a little bit intimidating, but now it's just, you know, normal for me. It's like muscle memory for me to check the integrity of the file. Sometimes I forget the syntax for how to check it, but a quick Google search always leads you to the right direction, right? So how many CPU cores? 2. How much memory? You can up the memory if you want, type it in if you want, reduce it if you want. Yeah, it has a whole bunch of information here that you can go through, but it's pretty straightforward. You just import it. The virtual system, Kali Linux, requires that you agree to the terms and conditions of the software license agreement. So you can read that if you are so inclined. I'm just gonna click agree, and wait for it to install. This is so much easier than other installations of VMs that I've done, especially in the past. Like, I don't remember using OVAs to install or import the Kali Linux. Oh, I forgot to set the storage that it's using. I think it should be good. I think. Let's see what happens. Should be straightforward. It's gonna take a bit. My machine is slow. Hopefully yours is faster than mine. I'll just probably skip ahead. Oh, okay, wait. Might not have to. If you're first starting out in IT and you're watching this, I highly recommend you do what I'm doing, which is doing little demonstrations, building up your portfolio, helping other people, because it is super important. Okay, let's see. It installed much quicker than I thought it would. I'm trying to look for the the storage space it allocated. So when you're installing a VM, you probably already know this. You allocate how many CPU cores you want to use, the amount of memory, and the amount of storage. That was what I usually did. Oh, I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's 80 gigs. Yeah, here we go. Such a boob sometimes. It's right here. So 80 gigs is more than enough. So just go ahead and start it up. Hopefully it's faster on your machine. My machine is super slow. So you just go ahead and click that. Guess we could click capture. So it's so easy to build these skills up nowadays because all you need to do is boot up a virtual machine and just start playing around. And making mistakes is like, it's a non-issue because it's in a lab environment. Of course, you never want to do this in your production environments. You never want to do this at work or on any machine that requires you to do your daily tasks, right? So the default credentials are Kali and Kali, and you definitely want to change that as soon as possible so that you're good to go. So let's change our password real quick. What is that spike? All right, so change your password using the password command. I highly suggest that you do that. So the current password, it says changing password for Kali, right? The current password is Kali. You want to type in your new password. I don't know. And then type it again. And your password is changed. Now also what you want to do is update your system. Sudo, it's going to ask you for the password that you just set. And it's not gonna show the asterisks or any of that stuff for security reasons. And you just start updating your things. Start updating your ting. I mean, I think that the general process that we just took is ideally the process that you want to use when installing any VM, especially if it's Linux. You want to download the ISO, check the integrity, update your system, update your Linux package or your Linux distro, and then sudo apt get upgrade. Now you got to upgrade it. And then it says upgraded. 620 is upgraded. 0 newly installed. 0 to remove. And 156 not upgraded. Need to get 874 megabytes of archives. After this operation, 39.5 of megabytes of additional disk space will be used. It gives you all that information, right? Just hit yes. You could just follow this step by step because We're on a journey together. That's what I want this to feel like. We're on a journey, because a lot of this stuff is new to me, or it was new to me. But I've done this so many times that it just feels straightforward, right? I highly advise you do this every single time. Oh, while it's doing that, let's explore some of the tools. So you have so many different tools, right? Usual applications, the internet, which is your web browser, multimedia, you got your office and stuff. Development packages, what? SQLite. Do we have, I think we should have Python installed in this. There's so much that you could do. DNS analysis, IDS / IPS identification. IDS stands for Intrusion Detection System. IPS, Intrusion Prevention System. Network and port scanners, that's what I was talking about earlier. Mass scan, Nmap, OSINT analysis. Still not familiar with that stuff because I'm not really a cyber security person. NetMask. Look at this. You got so much to do, right? Vulnerability analysis, web application analysis, database assessment, password attacks, wireless attacks, and all of this stuff. You definitely want to make sure that you are playing around with in a lab environment. So that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to show you. That's all you really need to know for installing VirtualBox. Also, you can make this, I believe, full screen, I think. Yeah, there you go. You have to just press Control F and it's full screen. Look at this. It's beautiful, right? And you could do that through View. You could also do, Host F, whatever the host button is for you. But if you're installing this on a Windows machine, you could just hit Control F. And you can also do, let me see. Just click this, full size mode. If you want to connect this virtual machine onto your lab network, if you have a separate lab network like I do, I have a Cisco lab, you want to install this virtual machine on your system, and then what you want to do is put this machine onto your home lab network, and then simply go to devices, network settings, and you want to do bridged adapter. Essentially what bridged adapter does is it bridges your virtual NIC in the VM with your physical NIC on your computer hardware, and it brings your VM onto the network, right? So that's all I really wanted to show you. Just play around with this stuff because you can learn a lot, and only do this stuff in your lab environment. I highly recommend that you keep all of this stuff off of your main computers. Like, I would say even do as much as install this stuff on a computer that you don't really use that much, and you'll have more range in what you can do. And again, keep it to the lab environment, right? So that's pretty much it. I hope you found this demonstration valuable, and I'll talk to you guys next time.